This is the second part of 5.6, so I'll call it 5.6b. And we're doing more factoring. So again, look for your greatest common factor. If there is none, then we'll probably do the AC method, which is what I'm going to show you. Well, 20 times 6 is 120. And you can go through all the factors of 120 until you find something that adds, 10 and 12. Well, that's 22, so probably, 11 and 11 would not work. Plus it doesn't even add. So all I'm doing is just guessing. 120 divided by 8. Oh, that looks like it'll work. 8 plus 15 is 23. So that's what we're going to work with. I just like to rewrite it. 20x squared plus 8x plus 15x plus 6. Notice where I got the 8 and the 15 was from over here. And 8 plus 15 added together gives me 23. That's why we split it up. So greatest common factor, the first term looks like 4x is the greatest. So I'm left with 5x plus 2. And then here I would say 3 goes into both. 3 times 5 gives me 15x. 3 times 2 gives me 6. So I know I'm right because what's inside the parentheses is exactly the same. Write that once. And then the other set of parentheses is your leftovers, 4x plus 3. From right there and right there. So here is your answer. So again, you're looking at this, nothing's in common. So do your AC method, that's negative 45. Negative is important because that's telling you to subtract. So if you were to say, oh, well, 5 minus 9, 5 times negative 9 is negative 45, but 5 minus 9 is negative 4. So maybe instead of writing it that way, write 9 minus 5. Still multiplies by negative 45, and now it's 9 minus 5 is 4. Now, I have a certain way of writing it. I find it's helpful if there's a positive and a negative to write the negative one first. And addition's commutative, so it doesn't matter. But I find like that helps students because then when they look at that, they don't get confused with this term because they can factor out a positive 3 and left with 3x minus 1. And I don't know. Maybe it's less confusing. Maybe it's more confusing. I don't know. So what's inside the parentheses, write that once, and your leftovers in the other set of parentheses. Now the next one, there's a couple different ways you could do this. There's a fast way and then there's a slow way. Now the slow way still works is if you were to simplify this, multiply it all out and combine like terms. The fast way is to understand that you could do the AC method, 3 times negative 20, which is negative 60, and the factors that would add to be negative 7. Let me think for a second. 10 and 6 wouldn't work, but 5 times 12 would work. So what you could do is think of it then as 3 times that x plus 1 squared plus, or how about I do minus 12 x plus 1 plus 5 x plus 1 minus 20. And you could still group the same way that we've been talking about grouping, where you could factor out a 3 and an x plus 1. And you're left with 1 x plus 1 minus 4, because we factored out one of the x plus 1s, and we factored that one out, and we factored out a 3. And then with the other one, you could factor out a 5. You still have an x plus 1 minus 4. So what's inside the parentheses are identical. I'm talking about this parenthesis and this parenthesis. So you can write that once. X plus 1 minus 4. And then in the other set of parentheses, 3 x plus 1 plus 5. Now if that doesn't make sense to you, I get it. What you could have done instead is rewritten the original problem as 3 times the quantity of x squared plus 2x plus 1 minus 7x minus 7 minus 20. And then even from there, there's a lot of work to be done, because you would have, I don't know, let me write it down here, 3x squared. 3 times 2 is 6, but then minus 7 would be negative 1x. And then you'd have 3 minus 7 is negative 4 minus 20 is minus 24. And then there's still a lot of work to be done to figure out that this reduces to 3x. And x, I believe it's minus 3 and 8, which is equal to that answer right there. If you don't believe me, FOIL it out. You know, x plus 1 minus 4 is x minus 3. And then 3x plus 3 plus 5 is plus 8. So I know I worked through that really quickly, but I wanted to show you there's 2 different ways of getting that correct answer. And I'm fine if you write the answer like this, or if you go take a step back and write it like this. Either way, you're proving to me that you understand. So pick a way and go with it. And again, I'm not trying to confuse you at all, but you know, there's more. You know, we can do more of the same thing, and we're just changing the variables around, but it still works. That's negative 60. I want to say it's 15 and 4, but it's negative 15 plus 4 to get negative 11. So you can rewrite that as 6x to the 4th minus 15x squared plus 4x squared minus 10. And so greatest common factor, I believe that's 3x squared for the first 2 terms, left with 2x minus 5, plus a 2 goes into each of those. That would be 2x minus 5, 2x squared minus 5. That's how you can check your work, is when I forgot it here, when I was simplifying here, I knew it was going to match up. So write what's in the parentheses once, because they're exactly the same. That means they're the like terms. 3x squared plus 2, your leftovers go in the other set of parentheses. I should say they're common factors. So feel free to pause and re-watch this, or write down what you need to. And you should be ready for the homework. Notice I do want you to do all 95, 96, and 97. I do want you to go back to 13 through 16 as well. You may remember this skill from a previous math class. If you forgot, we can talk about it in class or Google Meets, whatever works for you.